Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I am out in the travel trailer, eating a little bit of breakfast this morning, getting ready. Lumber is supposed to be arriving in about 20 minutes, so we will start framing this afternoon. So pretty exciting stuff, starting to move forward. My dad's out here with me, so we have some priorities that we're going to try and get to while he's here over the next couple days. Mainly, we want to get the main walls that run north-south, the walls that divide the living space and the shop, and then the walls that divide the living room from the bedrooms. We want to get those up so that we can have the main beams picked up, so I can have my dad here to help me with that. So let's go take a look at it, and I'll give you a rundown of what our plan of attack is going to be once we get the lumber loaded into the shop. All right, so the lumber has arrived and we have started unloading lumber. So here we're starting piles of 2x8s and sheetrock, and here's our pile of all of our studs. We are going to take a break from unloading wood because we still have this big pile left, and we're going to start framing a wall. So our plan of attack over the next couple days, while I have my dad here to help me, the goal is to try and get these main north-south walls up and framed between the living half and the bedrooms, and then between the living half and the shop. And the reason we're trying to do that is because while my dad's here, he can help me get those main beams put up, which are all big 2x12 beams, and it'll be a lot easier doing that with two guys. So our plan of attack for framing today is to prep to get these main north-south walls set here and here. In order to do that, we need to have some of the east-west walls on this side up to give some stability to this inside wall. So we are going to start with this back east-west wall, then we'll frame from this corner up here to where it'll meet up with the north-south wall here. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side where the window is in the guest bedroom, and then we'll probably frame a couple east-west walls that go all the way across. So here between the closet and utility room, we have another main wall between the master bedroom and the master bathroom that we're going to frame up, and then we have this main wall between the master bedroom and the hall and the closet. So those are going to be the kind of four main east-west walls we're going to try and frame up, and then these big north-south walls, and then we're going to try and get those beams that go across this way installed before my dad has to leave in a few days. right, guys, it is day 2 and we are back at it. But before we get back into framing, let's take a walk around and I'll show you what we got done yesterday in our first day of framing. We started getting these east-west running walls framed up. And I kind of want to show y'all a little bit about how we're doing this and how we're framing these walls. Some little tidbits that I didn't think about until I started looking into it more about framing. So the first thing we do is we'll start from the bottom, I guess, and work our way up. So we are framing out all of the bottom plates with pressure-treated lumber. They didn't always used to do this. My brother just renovated a house from the 50s, and their bottom plates were all just normal wood with tar paper underneath them. But in a lot of places now, it is code that you put pressure-treated lumber for your bottom plate. It is actually not code where I'm at because I'm out in the country, and so I don't have to get any of this inspected. But I just went ahead and went with pressure-treated for all the bottom plates just for a best practice. So how we're securing these bottom plates to the slab is we're using a powder nail driver, and we're putting construction adhesive underneath all of these base plates. So before we put the walls in place, I'm putting glue down underneath them, and then we're putting the walls into place, and we're nailing them down. And we're nailing them down with what they call a powder nail gun. If you're not familiar with them, they look like this. So this is a powder nail gun, and it takes these 22 blanks. There's a spent one right there, but it takes these 22 blanks that you load into here. You put one of these style nails, and you load it into the tip. And then you hold it down and you hit it with a hammer, and that 22 drives that nail into the concrete. So that's how we're doing it. Now there's lots of different ways. They have the kind of it looks like just like a bent peg that you have to pre-drill a hole in a concrete, and as you drive it, that bent peg bends more and it expands to fill that joint to anchor it in. So there's that style of concrete anchors. They got the lead style of concrete anchors that you have to pre-drill a hole, put the lead in, and then you run a bolt in, or you can run concrete screws. All of those require pre-drilling a hole in your concrete. Whereas these, you just load those into this gun, you put the gun, you put it onto the base plate, you hit it with a hammer, and it drives it into the concrete. These may not be as strong as the screws, but we just counteract that with running more. So it's real important when you set these is you want to put them, you want to put quite a few, and you really want to put them on areas where there's going to be a lot more stress on your wall. So for instance here, this, and we're missing a header still, but this opening right here is going to be a door. And since we know there's going to be a door that's going to open this way, right here, there's going to be a lot of stress because this is where the door is going to shut and slam into this wall over and over again. So there's going to be a lot of work right here. So that we put 2 on this in this opening, and then we put another one in here. So that's how we're doing our bottom plates. Pressure-treated lumber, glued, nailed to the floor. Now, all of our studs we're doing with 2x4 pre-cut studs for 9-foot ceilings. So these are all, here's a pile of some of the studs we have left. These are all 104 5/8 pre-cut studs, and that saves us a bunch of time for having to cut all the different studs to length. Here is an example of how we're doing an opening for a 48-inch door. So this is a 48-inch door, 48 by 80, and the rough-in opening is 50 by 82. And then for that span, you can go look it up in span tables. For 48-inch span, we're using two 2x10 headers right? So this is called a header, if you don't know what that is, and that's a 2x10. And we use 2 of them, and what I do is I've sandwiched 1/2-inch plywood in between them, because a nominal 2x is 1.5 inches thick. So that's 3 inches thick, and then you add that 1/2-inch plywood, that makes it exactly 3.5, so it becomes the same width as the rest of the 2x that we're using to frame the house. So for this header, we're using 2 2x10s with a sheet of 1/2-inch plywood sandwiched in between them, and also based on this span, we have 2 jam studs. So when you're framing in a door, you know, these studs here are called jam studs that go up to the bottom of the header, and then this stud here is called a king stud that goes all the way back up to your top plate. So for that 48-inch door, we have 2 jam studs, a king stud, and a 2x10 header. Now, as opposed to this, which is an opening for a 30-inch door, we have 1 jam stud, and we're using a 2x8 header. And actually, a 2x8 header is a little oversized for this applications, but I don't have any 2x6s, so we just decided instead of going and buying 2x6s specifically for headers, we were just gonna use our 2x8s. In fact, yesterday, I accidentally framed this door, which is another 48-inch door. This goes into a closet. I framed it with a 2x8 header, which is undersized, so I actually went and cut it out. And the first thing I'm gonna do this morning is I'm actually gonna make a new 2x10 header. So here is the 2x8 header that I cut out from it last night, and I'll cut that down and use it over a door or a window or something. But this morning, the first thing I'm gonna do, and I already got my boards marked, is I'm gonna cut these 2 2x10s and cut a piece of plywood, and we're gonna make a new header to put into that closet door. Back to overall picture type stuff. So we have this wall framed out except for framing around the window. We didn't frame it around the window on the floor. The big concern that I have here is when I finish this out, I'm gonna take a piece of 1x and have it come all the way out and cover up the 2x4, and then there'll be, you know, trim and sheetrock and stuff. But I want the 2x4 frame to come all the way up and match up perfectly flush with this face and this face, you know, this face and the top face. So I didn't frame it on the ground. I want to be able to fine tune where the boards go so they line up perfectly with those faces, so that when we trim it out, it'll be a nice clean one single piece of 1x trim will come all the way from here out and cover the 2x4. So we're gonna have, you know, our windows are gonna be a foot into the wall. So we're gonna have a big, you know, foot deep window sill, but it won't be just the sill, will be all the way around. But we got this east-west wall done. We got this east-west wall done in between the bathroom and the guest bedroom. We have this east-west wall done, which is in between the master bedroom and the hallway, and then my closet will be here. And then we have the wall that goes into the master bathroom here. And then we have the very back wall that against this back utility room and the wife's closet. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna frame in this wall, which goes in between the master bathroom and the closet and the utility room. We're gonna finish up all the headers and everything on the rest of these walls, and then we are gonna start framing this main north-south running wall. and we'll use all these walls that we ran to tie into that wall and keep everything sturdy and square while we're framing. And if we get far enough along, we may start framing this other main north-south running wall here. So I'm gonna hop to it. I'm gonna set the camera back up for another little time-lapse video. Like I said, working on headers and stuff right now. As soon as my dad gets back, he went to the lumber yard to pick up some lumber that they did not get delivered yesterday. But as soon as he gets back, we'll probably start standing back more walls. All right, guys, this video is starting to get a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it short here. So we'll have a framing part 1 episode and a framing part 2 episode that I'll start cutting together right now. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.